Today I'm making dice for another player in my D&D game. She plays Rock Gnome, so it's a perfect excuse to try to make Geode Dice. Geode Dice are a type of shell dice. A shell die has an inner blank, a numberless die, embedded in a larger, usually clear, shell die with the numbers. For Geode Dice, the inside blank is hollowed out, leaving a partial die that we can decorate to resemble a geode. This means we're effectively making two complete sets of Dice Masters, a blank set and a 2mm larger shell set with the numbers. One important note, and the reason I had to redo my shell molds, is that since I want the pretty geode to be visible on the highest number face, I have to put the high number on the adhesive tape when making the molds, so it becomes the top of the mold. This is necessary because the uncarved non-geode part of the blank needs to be pushed to the bottom of the shell mold, since we can't align the carved away part in the shell mold. We follow the usual process of printing and polishing the shell dice, but since we don't require a perfect surface on the inside blanks, we can skip polishing them. Pro tip: put a small dot on each face of the blanks, then polish them off. Without the numbers, the faces all look the same, and for something like a D20, it's hard to keep track of which faces are polished. With the molds complete, I need to make some blanks. Since I want a stone look, I'm using 2 parts Just Resin Cosmic Black and 1 part Titanium White pigment paste to get a dark gray. I add a small amount of Just Resin Glitter Dust to give it a bit of sparkle. After making the blanks, I need to turn these rocks into geodes. I use a small Dremel tool bit to drill out half of each die. Since these are blanks, I drilled out the worst looking face. Since this generates a lot of resin dust, I'm doing this outside with a respirator. There's still a lot of resin dust on these dice, so I give them another cleaning in the vibratory cleaner with isopropyl alcohol. The key part of this technique is making the blank look like a geode. I'm going for an amethyst and gold look to match the Rock Gnome's aesthetic. I'm aligning the inside with gold foil and fixing it with Let's Resin UV resin. I put down 2 layers of foil and then add 2 layers of mylar flakes. I make sure to knock off anything that sticks up too far, since that has to be able to fit within the shell mold. I fill the shell molds about halfway with clear resin, then press the geode blanks into them with the pretty side facing up. I'm trying to avoid introducing bubbles this way. I then top them off as I normally would. The D20s can be tricky because it's hard to tell when they're properly aligned on the bottom. I had a few failures where I got the wrong face on top. I let them cure in the pressure pot and pop them out and polish them as I would any normal die. Inking can be tricky. You want contrast against the stone, but you also want the geode to be as visible as possible. I ended up using 3 different colors: lustful purple for most of the numbers, bold titanium white for the one face, and glorious gold for the high side in an attempt to match the gold foil in the geode. And here's the complete Wrexham the Rock Gnome set. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. If you have any questions or suggestions, please put them in the comments.